He who reads leads. To follow her heart's desire.
As we go through life, we sometimes find ourselves in situations where we feel as though there's no way out. There is no one in our corner. We feel boxed in. Imagine your parents and teachers while in school telling you to study to become a lawyer, doctor, Indian, or chief, as if there are no other occupations. And you know in your heart that that's not what you want to do. You are left feeling as though your hands are tied. You believe you must satisfy your parents' wish. Guess what? Help is on its way, as today we will highlight an unfamiliar job that can provide the same amount of security. Point to Point podcast was developed with you in mind. This is a space where we highlight the points affecting you, our listeners, and by doing so, point you to possible solutions. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Joy Bennett, marketing and communication specialist, entrepreneur, and content creator. We are coming to you from the beautiful Gulfview Hotel up in the hills of Mandeville. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guess what? In today's episode, we will be discussing the topic jobs in unfamiliar places. I have a special guest in studio who I will be speaking with as she points you in an unfamiliar place where she has mastered the art and now is using it to pay her bills. Stick and stay. More to come. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. My guest today is Jolene Masters. She is a 6th degree black belt international Taekwondo instructor. Welcome, Sabum Masters.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing this space with me today.
Thank you for having me, Joy.
Oh,
It's my pleasure.
I miss those fun times we had at the Carteret College.
Yes.
Anyway,
Those were good times.
those were some very good times.
Fabulous times.
Fabulous times. But putting fun and joke aside, we are about to speak to something serious.
Yes.
However, we can go ahead and agree that it can also be fun.
Oh, yes.
Doing jobs considered in an unfamiliar place.
Yes,
One
yes.
such area is Taekwondo.
It is.
Taekwondo has been around for over 60 years.
It has.
And locally here in Jamaica for 48 years, having started in 1973.
Yep, that is
Wow,
correct. That is
that's
correct.
a long time. But guess what? I was pleasantly surprised when after we graduated from the Carteret College, I learned that you were pursuing martial arts. I didn't see that one coming at all, Jolene.
Neither did I, to be truthful. Neither did I.
But what exactly is Taekwondo? And is it different from martial arts? Because we continue to hear martial arts, Taekwondo. Explain that to us.
Okay, martial arts is a broad heading that encompasses the different types of martial arts. So you have Taekwondo, you have karate, you have kung fu, you have wing lung, you have tai chi, you have all these types of different martial arts, but they are different in their own rights based on where they are from and their origin.
Okay. I was doing some research and then I realized that the Thai meant foot,
Yes.
And the pon meant hand.
Yes.
And then the do meant the art.
The art or the
wow,
way. Yes.
that is fascinating.
Yes.
So what or who inspired you to do martial arts and in particular Taekwondo?
Well, while we were at school one day, I was talking to, you remember George Sutton, right?
Yes!
Right, he was in our class at the Cartwright.
Can I tell you something? George Sutton ended up to be my co-worker years later.
Okay. Well, he and I were talking one day and he said to me, "You really want to do karate?" And I said, "Yes, it's something I find quite fascinating." And he said, "Okay, go and speak to this gentleman, Harrison Chin-Hing, over at Mazuka, and he will give you all the information that you need." And that's where it started. And when I went and I spoke to Mr. Chin-Hing, who sadly passed away a few years ago.
I heard that.
Yes, but after I spoke with him, the very next Monday I started class.
You're serious?
Yes, 2nd of November 1987, and I have not looked back.
While we are killing ourselves to become lawyers, doctors, Indians, and chief, you were going on a journey to become.
No, actually, I didn't originally start out to do this as a profession. You know, I bobbed and weaved between accounting and secretarial, and then I ended up in banking for a bit, and then I ended up in the fabrication industry where I worked in aluminium and I did doors and windows and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
then the economy in the 1996.
Don't go into that anymore because we need to get into that a little bit more.
No, it took a downturn and thus Taekwondo evolved.
Yes.
Taekwondo evolved.
So, oftentimes I'm tired of hearing black belt, blue belt, green belt, yellow belt.
Yes.
What are these various belts and what are their significance?
Okay, in Taekwondo, our belts get progressively darker. So once you begin, you start as a white belt, you're a novice, you don't know anything. Then you progress to yellow, where you start to learn some more, and then you go up to green, which signifies the plants as Taekwondo continues to improve, and then we go up to blue, and then we go to red, which means watch out, danger is coming, and then black, which means that you're somewhat proficient, but then you're beginning another step on the journey. So as a colored belt, you are in one category, and then once you start as a black belt, you step up to another category, which is a whole new ball game of where your way of thinking, your way of approaching the sport or the discipline, in fact.
So, based on what you're saying, would you say then that you start at white?
Yes, we start at white.
So you start very
as a novice.
As a novice.
Yes, as a novice.
And as you develop, you move into these various
your skills develop, your knowledge increases, and thus your progression.
Okay. Then the other thing is, according to everything.com, you also have varying degrees in Taekwondo.
Of black belts.
And they are not speaking about temperatures.
No,
Can you
not at
tell us
all.
what these degrees mean? Because I think when we hear Taekwondo and hear these things, we are so confused.
No, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. There are 9 degrees of black belt in ITF Taekwondo. 1st to 3rd, you're classified as an assistant instructor. 4th to 6th, you're classified as an instructor. And 7 and 8, you're classified. 7, you're classified as a master. And 8th and 9, you're classified as a grandmaster.
Wow.
So your level of competence and expertise.
Yes, because I was looking at something where I saw, I think it was 1st to 3rd is one level.
Yes.
And then you have
4th to 6th, yes.
It's Sabum.
Sabum.
And then you have
7 and 8,
which is a
Sahyong. Yes.
And then you have 9th,
Sasong.
Sason.
Yes.
And Sason is the grandmaster.
Grandmaster, the granddaddy of it all.
So tell us, Jolene, where are you in the scheme of things?
I am currently 6th. I'm preparing for 7th. I'm due in 2023 for my next exam.
Wow, you are serious. So having heard all of this explanation, where did you get the inspiration and the courage to continue moving from these various degrees and belts?
Well, actually, when I was a colored belt, it was quite fascinating to me because at each level we went up, we learned something new. There was never, granted you still have to know and remember what you were taught as a lower belt, but each rank you went, you learned something new, and I found it quite fascinating because it kept changing, it kept evolving, and I really enjoyed it, so I just kept training.
I tell you, I was so enthused yesterday and I got so excited because I spoke to Master Lou.
Oh, Peter, yes, Master Lou,
Master
yes.
Lou was giving me a whole lot of history, and
Yes,
I tell you,
yes.
I could hear the excitement
Yes.
in his voice as he spoke to me.
Yes,
It
we
taught
are
me
enthused about what we do.
very enthused
Yes,
about what
yes,
you do,
we
and I
are.
was
Yes,
telling
we are.
him that you're always talking about your babies.
Yes.
But it is very interesting, and the conversation will continue because, of course, we know that you are a very dedicated person who loves what you do.
Yes, I
and
do.
so at this point, we will take a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to dive deeper into this discussion. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. I am chatting with Jolene Masters, who is the #1 and only female international instructor right here in Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Yes, in the region actually.
And in the region, actually,
Only
powerful.
The only black one.
And the only black one.
Yes.
Mighty. Now, Jolene. Can I say Jolene or should I say Sabum?
Either will work.
Okay, Sabum Masters.
Yes.
Everyone growing up wanted to become lawyers, doctors, engineers because their parents,
Yes, our parents.
thought that was best for them.
Yes.
What at this point, when did you realize that you never wanted to do any of those things?
Well, when my career path changed in mid-1990s, and I decided, look, I was tired of working for people. It was just not working out. The long hours, the satisfaction was no longer there. And that's when I decided to do Taekwondo full time. And it just turned out to be quite well for me so far. I don't have any regrets at all.
Oh, question, did your parents share the same?
Oh, not at all. My mother, she just couldn't deal with it. She kept asking me, I need to go find something better to do with my time, and she lamented and she complained. And my paternal grandfather and my uncle came to Jamaica to visit, and she was there lamenting and complaining to them, and my grandfather simply looked at her and said, leave the child alone, she's doing something productive with her time. And she sort of came around after that, and then once she realized that the different benefits that it afforded me to travel to all these different places and stuff, she came around for me.
Because I wanted to find out now, at what point did you realize, having started to do Taekwondo, at what point you realize that you can make a career out of this?
As I said, in the mid-1990s, when the downturn in the economy occurred, and I decided that, okay, we had a vibrant class going here in Mandeville, and I spoke to my instructor, who was Mr. Chilling at the time, and I said to him, sir, I think I should do this. What do you think? And he said, yes, if you want to do it, go for it, Masters. Don't hesitate, just go right ahead. And that's what I did, and I don't have any regrets. And I would encourage anyone who wants to take on any aspect of sport, it doesn't have to be martial arts at all, go for it. If it's something you love, go for it.
Because again, as I mentioned sport, initially when I was speaking to Master Lou yesterday, he basically said that it was more than just a sport.
Yes. The sport came later. It's a discipline. It's a way of life. It's life changing. It teaches you how to be caring to others, respect for your elders, just how to be a better human being all over.
Boy, you're making me feel jealous. I'm sorry I never followed you.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
And that's another question I asked. I said, is there a special age group?
No.
And he said that
Nope.
as long as if
You
you're in
are
your 60s
able.
and you're able and you're fit and you're ready, you can choose.
And you don't need to be deterred, because the children, they have boundless energy. So there's a special program for them.
Mm-hmm.
The middle group, there's also a program for them. And the more mature, there is a program for them. So the more mature will not necessarily do what the middle and the children do, because they don't have the capacity, and maybe sometimes they have issues with health, and so they can't do the rigorous training.
Right.
We have something that we tailor to facilitate them.
And what I like about it, I I like the discipline part.
Yes, very
I like
disciplined.
the discipline part.
Very disciplined. Very disciplined.
A very interesting question I have here. Taekwondo is often said to be a man's field. Would you agree?
Yes, I do.
Or is it that more men tend to gravitate towards the discipline than women?
No, it is predominantly a male domain because it was created by a general who was in the Korean army.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in those days, only men entered the army.
Right.
So it was created for the male species. But in recent times, women and the children began to do it. So the outlook has changed in that they're not fully receptive yet, but there are plans in place and they're working towards making it more women and the children friendly.
And then I could safely say then that based on the fact that you are now the number one in Jamaica and the Caribbean,
Yes.
you're showing us that
Yes,
women
it can be done.
can do whatever men say they can do, and
Yes.
guess what? I do believe that women,
within reason.
and I think I'm also safe to say that when we take on a man's or what is considered a man's job, we do it and we do it so well that we end up being smarter.
I don't really want to go around that road, but what I will do say is we are able to do what the men do to some extent better than they do and as equal in some regard.
And I think that women are more concentrated when they set their minds to
Yes, I
doing.
think we are more disciplined that
Yes,
way,
I
and
think so.
once we set our minds, we usually stick to it.
Stick to it, yes.
Yes.
No, I know that through Taekwondo you have traveled the world.
Extensively,
So,
yes.
is this on just having fun? Are you competing, or is it Taekwondo work?
All of the above. All of the above. Initially, I started traveling as a competitor,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I realized that it was challenging for me to maintain weight, to fight in the preferred category, I gave up competing and started umpiring.
Okay.
So I am a Class A umpire, and I have umpired at all of the championships and World Cups, World Championships and World Cups
Mm-hmm.
since 2000 for the last 10 years.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I've only missed one in the last 10 years. 2009, I didn't go to Argentina.
So when we hear about competing in Taekwondo, what exactly you do?
Okay, there are several disciplines. I specialized in patterns, what most people know as kata, and sparring, which is free fighting. There's also breaking, special technique for the ones who are light and can fly, power breaking for the heavier ones, and then there's prearranged for those who don't like to fight, but you can create your own scenario and you
Okay.
compete with a partner against another couple.
Okay.
And yes, but I did mainly pattern and sparring.
Pretty interesting.
I didn't like breaking.
Wow, that is very, very interesting.
There are several disciplines, yes.
Yes. You seem to have very exciting and interesting journey. A very interesting journey.
Yes, I do.
Especially the fact that you get to earn by doing what you love.
Yes.
At this point, you don't see it as work.
No,
but
not at all.
basically as fulfillment.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What this shows is that you don't have to build a career in one of the traditional
No.
professions to
No.
feel fulfilled.
Exactly.
What is important is that you do something that will be of value to you
That you love
and
doing.
peace of mind.
That you
joy
enjoy doing.
doing.
Because once you enjoy it, then you will always be doing it.
Because can I tell you, I have a few friends who their parents forced them to become
Yes.
medical doctors.
Yes, because
And
it's
in
the
the
parents'
end,
aspiration.
they
Yes.
end up doing something else what they truly love.
Yes.
And waste all those years of study.
Well, it's not wasted
You know,
because you have
but
the knowledge.
you have the knowledge, I
But
mean.
you could have been doing something that
It
you
wasn't
preferred
fulfilling
instead.
to the person.
Yes, yes, it was their
And
parents'
so
wish.
we continue to ask parents to allow their children to
Guide them.
guide them, but allow them to choose,
Choose.
what they
Don't
really
parents shouldn't try to fulfill their dreams
through their children.
Yes.
Yes. And sometimes we find that
Yes.
that's
We are guilty of
what-
that,
We are
yes.
guilty of that. That's really what happens. Oh my God, this is so powerful. Talking about Taekwondo and talking about careers in that field, who would have
Yes.
thought?
Yes.
But don't go away right now, listeners. This is so interesting. Please just stick and stay as we take our final break. We will be right back. Thank you so much, my listeners, for staying with us. We are back for the final segment of this week's episode, where we've been talking about jobs in unfamiliar places.
Yes.
And in this instance, the discipline of Taekwondo.
Yes, ma'am.
Jolene, Sabu, Masters,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone, especially a young lady who might be listening to this podcast and who is trying to find something meaningful but fun to do that could become a lasting career?
Well, I would encourage her to follow her heart's desire. Because in the long run, you are going to have to live with your career choices, and whether or not you are feeling fulfilled or you're feeling constantly stressed. Just follow your heart's desire. There is always an avenue that leads to your successful fulfillment, self-fulfillment.
Self-fulfillment, and that's what is important.
That is what is important. It's not what society dictates, what your friends and your family dictate, what you consider to be fulfilling.
Because people will always come to you
Oh, yes.
with advice. They will give you
Sure.
guidance.
And as one of my many adopted fathers tell me, you receive the suggestions, you sift it, you
Exactly.
take what you can use, and you discard the
And
rest.
discard the rest.
Yes.
Because in the end, it's all about
All about you.
You in
and
the
how
end
you
will have to understand and know what it is that you truly
desire.
want and what you desire.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we don't say don't take it for advice.
No. Take
all
the advice.
you can
Yes.
get, and as you
Sift
say,
it.
Sift it.
Take what you can use, discard the rest.
Great advice here, Sabu Masters. No, I did research yesterday, and I hope I'm saying it right now, because you know that I'm thanking you, but
Oh, Isan.
Kamsamnida.
Kamsamida. See,
Kamsamnida.
it is correct. Kamsamida. Thank you.
Comes. Thank you so very much for sharing your story and your invaluable time here in this space with me this
You
afternoon.
are most welcome.
It
was
was
my
inspiring.
absolute pleasure.
I learned so much to the point where I think that me at my age may need to go and try out a little of the Taekwondo.
Even if it's only for exercise.
If it's
Yes.
only for exercise,
Yes,
and that is
yes.
important.
If it's only for exercise, you don't have to do the competitions and all of these. Just for
just
exercise.
for exercise,
Yes.
keep you fit and
And healthy.
Healthy.
Yes. Yes.
yes. And to you, my listeners, if there's anyone listening that is experiencing a doubt in what career path to choose, remember that all is not lost. There is hope. Keep the faith. But remember that faith without work is dead. So here's an opportunity to do something that you may develop a love for. If you are serious and need more information about Taekwondo and how you can make it a career, please feel free
Yeah.
to call Sabum Masters at
876-855-0080.
and she will walk you through.
Yes.
She will give you advice, because at the same time we are not saying that you must, but she can advise you, and then from that you can determine if this is something that you really would want to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, my listeners, for listening, and let's keep the points coming, as next week we'll look at another interesting point. Until next week, have a great afternoon.
He who reads, leads. To follow her heart's desire.